Welcome back. Over the past 3 weeks, we've been talking about choosing the right direction, making decisions for the right reasons, and building confidence through action. But eventually, almost everyone reaches the same question basically. Okay, Denny, what do I actually do now? If that's where you are, today's episode's for you. One of the biggest mistakes I used to make was believing that once I decided what I wanted, I needed to build it all immediately. The business, the income, the audience, the confidence, the new career, everything. It felt overwhelming. You can imagine. So I plan, then plan some more, then change the plan. Looking back, really, I wasn't actually building it. I was trying to solve 5 years in one weekend or in one week. Maybe you've done something similar to that. Eventually, I realized something. The goal isn't to build your next chapter today. The goal is to know what deserves your attention next. That changed everything. When people think about reinvention, they often imagine finished picture, let's say, the new business complete, the better income, the flexible lifestyle, the meaningful work, the freedom. There's nothing wrong with having a vision. The problem comes when we expect ourselves to build the whole picture before laying the first brick. Now, people ask themselves questions like this: which business, which website, which logo might I use or make, which software do I need, which email platform am I going to use, which social media outlet am I going to use? Those aren't really first questions. Those are questions that come later. Now, confusion often comes from trying to answer tomorrow's question today. That makes sense. Today's question is much simpler. What's my next intentional step? So, just as a quick example, use my example with the YouTube channel, the videos that you're watching at this point. I didn't need 500 videos all of a sudden. I needed one video. And it was so hard to make that one video. And it wasn't hard technically as much as it was mentally. But when that one video was done, guess what? The following week, another video. And then the week after that, another video. It was taking that initiative one step at a time. And that was intentional step. Once I got past that first video, I could now make the second video, and so on and so forth. Here's something I've noticed. People spend a lot of time waiting for motivation. I used to, but motivation is really unreliable. Momentum is different. Now, momentum grows because of small wins, small actions we've taken, small improvements we've made, small lessons we've learned. You don't need to feel motivated every day. You simply need to keep moving. Small steps, consistent steps, intentional steps. Those three ideas can change almost everything. Small steps, consistent steps, and intentional steps. Instead of saying, I want to build an online business, say, this week I'm going to publish one article, or I'm going to talk to one person. How about I'm going to record one video? That's how momentum often begins, right? Can I tell you what I think keeps most people stuck? They're trying to build confidence without movement, clarity without experimentation, and a future without today's action. None of those things work. None of them work. So let's go over the previous week's sequence. Week one, we discussed fit. Week two, intention. Week three, evidence. Now, week four, it's about momentum. See how these connect? This isn't four separate lessons. This is one process. So if the goal isn't to build your whole future today, how do you know? How do you know? To work on tomorrow morning. That's exactly what we're going to build next. So let's ask that question. How do you know what deserves your attention tomorrow morning? Not 6 months from now, not 5 years from now, but tomorrow. Because I think that's where a lot of people will end up getting stuck or are stuck, have been stuck. They know they want change. They know they can't keep doing exactly what they've been doing, but every possible next step feels equally important. Learn a new skill, update the resume, start a business, create content, take a course, network, apply for jobs. When everything feels important, really nothing gets done. I want you to picture someone building a house. No one expects to pour the foundation on Saturday in the morning and suddenly move in by Sunday night. It doesn't happen that way. A house is built in stages. You start with the foundation, then you start to frame the house, add the roof, interior walls, framing, put in the electrical and plumbing, and then you got the finished work that comes. The drywalling and everything else that is going to finish the house. Nobody looks at the foundation and says, well, I guess this isn't working, because everyone understands that the foundation is exactly where the house is supposed to begin. Get it? So your next chapter, it works the same way. It works the same way. See, people have told me I haven't changed careers yet. I haven't started the business yet, or I haven't replaced my income. Maybe not. But have you been learning anything? Have you been asking questions? Have you been testing ideas? Have you been discovering what fits and what doesn't fit? Then you're building the foundation. You are. That's one thing we need to know. We don't compare your foundation to someone else's finished house, right? We don't. Every meaningful change starts with that one brick, that one block, right? So last week I told you we build a 90-day reinvention roadmap. Not because 90 days will solve everything, it absolutely won't, but because 90 days is long enough to build momentum and it's short enough that it doesn't feel overwhelming. Is that okay? So we're really going to keep it simple. Okay. So days 1 to 30, the first month, it isn't about having all the answers. It's about exploring. It's about collecting information, learning, having conversations, trying small experiments, discovering what fits and what doesn't fit. This is where you use what we discussed a couple weeks ago, the midlife income fit filter, right? Does this direction fit my experience? Does it fit my personality? Does it fit my lifestyle? Does it fit my season of life? Does it fit my long-term vision? These are the things that are all evaluated by the midlife income fit filter. Your job during these first 30 days isn't to build your future, it's to understand it. It's to understand it a little better. Now, days 31 to 60, now it's time to start building. Okay, not everything. Don't get nervous now. Just enough to create momentum. Okay, practice that skill, right? For me, I had different skills that I had to build at different times. The most recent one was recording videos. Practice that skill. Publish that article. Record that one video. Have another conversation. Help someone. Whatever it is, depending on what you're considering, this is where confidence begins to grow. Not because you've mastered everything, not at all, but because you're collecting evidence. Evidence. As you accomplish these tasks, these one things, it's evidence that you have done it and you can do it more. Does that make sense? You're proving it to yourself that you can learn, that you can adjust, that you can improve, that you can keep going. It's important, that evidence, to build that momentum and confidence. Now, days 61 to 90, now you start paying attention to what's working. Where are you making progress? What feels aligned? What gives you energy? Where are people responding? Instead of chasing 5 different directions, you choose one that's really earning your attention. Okay. Now remember what we talked about in week 2. Use the decision compass. We talked about the decision compass, where you choose from purpose, not choose from fear, and we're not choosing from comparison. Okay? Go back and watch that again if you need to. At the end of 90 days, you don't need to have your whole future figured out. That's not what this is about. You simply need more clarity than you had when you started. It's a small shift. It's, steps that you're working through. It's not from you started, now, boom, everything's figured out. You're at the end. It doesn't work that way. But the progression should be there. You have more clarity than you did before. That's important, right? So if you've been with me throughout this month, I want you to notice something. Week one helped us ask, does this fit me? Okay, does this fit me? Week two asked, why am I choosing this? Week three reminded us that confidence comes from evidence. And today, how do I keep moving without becoming overwhelmed? One intentional step at a time. So when people ask me what they should do next, I think they're often asking the wrong question. They ask, how do I build my entire future? Generally, that's what the real question is. A better question is, what's the next brick? Maybe your next brick is updating your resume. Maybe it's having one informational interview. Maybe it's recording your first video. Maybe it's helping one person. Maybe it's finishing that workbook that you've been putting off. Whatever it is, make it small enough that you can complete it. Because one brick becomes another. And when that's done, one brick becomes another and another. And eventually you look behind you and you realize you've built something that once felt impossible. You didn't see it before. But when you look back and you see what you've accomplished, it's like, wow. Here's your challenge for this week. Take out a notebook or open the notes app on your phone. A lot of people are using the electronic version. I still like to write sometimes, but I also use note apps. Write this sentence. My next brick is. Finish it. Not your next 10 bricks. My next brick is. Finish it. Not your 5-year plan, just one. Then complete it before this week ends. That's how momentum begins. See, I think many of us spent years believing that changing our lives requires like one extraordinary moment, one perfect decision, one huge leap, one breakthrough. But when I look back at my own life, that's not what I see. I see many conversations, many lessons, many mistakes, adjustments, skills that took time to develop, confidence that grew slowly. That's the process. One ordinary day leading to another. Okay. So your next chapter probably won't begin with one life-changing moment. It will begin on an ordinary Tuesday or Wednesday when you decide to lay one more brick. So if you've followed the series and you feel you're ready to stop thinking about your next chapter and actually start building it, I'd love to help. The Clarity Reset Workbook, which I designed, is the best next step to take the ideas that we've explored throughout this month and helps you apply them to your own life, one exercise at a time. Okay. If you're looking for a simple place to begin, very simple, download my free 15-minute reset. In just a few minutes, you'll start clearing that mental clutter that keeps so many people feeling stuck. Very easy guide to go through, and it's free. And if you'd like some personal guidance, you can book a midlife clarity session with me. Together, we'll identify your next break and create a practical plan that fits your experience, your goals, your season of life. You'll find those links, all three of them, in the description below. I'd love to hear from you. What's the next brick you're going to lay this week? Leave it in the comments. Keep it simple, one action, one brick. Let's build the next chapters together. Okay. Over the past month, we focused on finding your direction. Next month, we're going to start building on that foundation. We'll talk about creating new income paths, developing valuable skills, building consistency, taking practical steps toward that fits the life that you actually want to create. If you're ready for that next stage, I'd love to have you join me. So thank you for spending this month with me. And remember, you don't have to build your whole future today. You only have to lay the next brick. Until next time, keep building your next chapter, one intentional step at a time.